than the recall on happiness during hard times. Grief cannot be shared. Everyone carries it alone. His own burden is his own way. Here, bring your wounded hearts. Here, tell your anguish. Earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. Thomas More. Truly, it is in darkness that one finds the light. So when we are in sorrow, then the light is nearest to us all. Good fiction creates empathy. A novel takes you somewhere and asks you to look through the eyes of another person, to live another life. Empathy has some unfortunate features. It is parochial, narrow-minded, and innumerate. We're often at our best when we're smart enough to not rely on it. What's important now are characteristics of the brain's right hemisphere. Artistry, empathy, inventiveness, big picture thinking. These skills have become first among equals in a whole range of business fields. The discoveries of how we can grow and the insights we need to really come from the inside out. To have genuine empathy, not as a make nice tool, but as an understanding, is essential to the next step. While leaders spend considerable time and effort trying to envision markets and pushing out innovation, empathy can often generate simple yet breakthrough ideas. People who work on the user interface side need to have empathy as a key. I think as we grow older, there are things that just don't have a light side to. But I guess the more you emphasize with people, the more empathy you have, and the less you are able to see the lighter side. But what can you do if you don't live life understanding the sympathy or the empathy? And this has been your Spaz of Realness here on KWDC 93.5 FM, the voice of Stockton.
You're now listening to Delta 360 on KWDC 93.5 FM, the voice of Stockton. Greetings. It is Matt Mackey here on Delta 360, and happy Thanksgiving. It's probably the last time we'll get to say it live on the air before actual Thanksgiving is here, that being tomorrow. And I was fortunate enough this morning to go over to the to Danner Hall and pick up a couple of pies that I pre-ordered from the artisan bakery they have over there with our culinary arts department. So a big thank you to Chef Halibicki and his students, doing a fantastic job. I can't wait to bring those to Thanksgiving dinner. And I got an apple pie, got a pumpkin pie, and I'm excited to share those with my family and everything. So, and that's really what, when it comes down to it, that's what Thanksgiving is all about, is having family. I got family that comes from around the state of California to come and visit, and getting to see them is always very special. And just wanted to thank the artisan bakery and the culinary arts department, and specifically Chef Robert Halibicki, for making those services available. So again, every Thursday they're out there. They won't be out there tomorrow, obviously, because it's Thanksgiving, but they're out there today for, I think, until 1 o'clock. And then, of course, most Thursdays they're out there for most of the morning. These guys get up at like 2 o'clock. Well, no, they come in and bake at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. And so in order to have the fresh foods for the day. And so it was really, really impressive that they make this happen. I emailed in my order yesterday, and they were able to get that baked up and ready for me to pick up this morning, and they have their nice little storefront set up over there. So big shout out to them, doing a fantastic job here on the Delta College campus. Speaking of the Delta College campus, one of the big things that happens around this time of year is lots of different sports activities going on here at Delta College. We got football, we got volleyball, water polo, women's soccer, and all kinds of fantastic sporting focuses to happen here for the Delta students. And so our very own, actually, Dustin Details Breakbill had the opportunity to speak with the director of sports programs here at Delta College, Dr. Arroyo. And I'm going to play portions of that interview throughout the show today. And they talked about football, which we just ended, obviously. A couple days ago, we had the football coaches from Delta College here, Doug Murray and the other coaching staff, and they did a fantastic job of representing the football team, which had a successful year and finished with a big bowl win, and we're very proud of them. And so I wanted to play parts of this interview here, and this is, again, Dustin Details Breakbill interviewing Dr. Arroyo here at Delta College.
Here with Dr. Darrell Arroyo of San Joaquin Delta College, athletic director. Let's start with football. They impressive win this weekend in the Gridiron Classic Bowl in American River College, beating them 20-17. A defensive battle, unlike the first game where they lost earlier on this year to American River. But this means a lot to Coach Gary Barlow, the head coach. I know this, after winning only 3 games the previous 2 seasons, getting a 7th win is pretty amazing what he's done this year.
Yeah, big turnaround for football, and it was, after. We've had a strong football program here, made plenty of bowl games, couple rough years where, as you said, we only won 3 games. I watched almost all those games, and we were in a lot. There were a lot of games we could have won. We weren't, but the record came out. Unfortunately, we didn't win. We won 3 games. So this was an important year for us to show that that we are a strong program and we could do well. And the staff and the athletes responded, and it wasn't easy. They came in, they won their first game, and then they won, lost. They were at 2-4 at one point, I believe, and then won 5 straight. So that's pretty exciting, and pretty exciting is an understatement, because every game of the last 5 were late wins, Hail Marys on the buzzer, we tied it with 30 seconds left in the Gridiron Bowl game, for example. ARC caught a pass in the end zone in overtime, which would have tied it, kept it tied, but they were out of bounds, and that's how we won, and that was the last play of the game. I'm thinking back to, I forget which game it was. There was an interception in the end zone to sew up another win a few weeks ago, and a deflection in the end zone to sew up another win, I think, the week before that. So, every game was, exciting and down the wire, which is, a little closer than we'd like, but, we've been, our kids have been able to win those tough, tight games, and that's how, that's what good teams have to do.
Talk about Coach Barlow and Coach Murray, the head coach and assistant head coach, and this staff, actually. They put up so much work on this team this season, and so many hours, and I know it just paid off in this season. I know I interviewed them yesterday. They were pretty happy about just turning the season around and getting these guys, these sophomores, out in style last.
Well, I think the first thing, by having such a good year this year, the teams that we beat, the success that we had, is going to help us to continue that success, because recruits like to see that type of thing. They like to come to a program that's doing well, that's having success, and so that'll help us to get. Obviously we had some good recruits because we had a great year, but it'll help us to continue to get good recruits deciding to come to Delta College. So that's a real positive thing. I think one of the things that's about what Doug and Gary do, and I have to check my records here, but even though they've had the last 2 seasons were rough, they probably had at least 15 to 20 guys sign as colleges. So we had talented kids that those guys have their connections and they have their film and they show. And even though we weren't doing very well as a team, we had a number of individuals each year, huge numbers of individuals that went on to other schools to continue their educations and their athletic careers. So that's probably easier to do when you're having a winning record, and a little tougher to have that many kids sign when you're not doing as well in the win-loss column, so to speak. Football. I never coached football. I played a little in high school till everybody kept growing and I stayed the same size. But the amount of time the football coaches, the football staff, and the players have to put in as far as the amount of film that they have to review and the preparations and the special teams and the offense and defense, it's an overwhelming sport. The amount of time that you have to put in to be successful at it. You have to put in. Any student athlete has to put in time and effort and discuss. But I think that, I know when I coached, and I coached the sport of wrestling, I used to tell my graduate assistants throughout the year, they said, if you ever think I'm giving you too much work, just go ask the football GAs what they're doing, and you'll know how lucky you are.
Yes.
So I know the type of effort that has to go into coaching football, and those guys are getting it done, and this obviously the staff did a great job this year.
They really are doing a fantastic job, and really need to be commended for the work that they're putting in and engaging with these students and really giving them an opportunity to develop and discover themselves. And, this is a time where a lot of these students, they're fresh out of high school, they're looking for an avenue, whether it's sports or something else academically. And actually, when you're a student athlete at Delta, you have to be performing well academically. There's lots and lots of standards that you're held to. And so it's a great time for these students to develop and discover their identity and figure out how they're going to define themselves going forward. And the program here with Coach Murray and Coach Barlow, they just do such a fantastic job of getting these students motivated, and the expert training that they go into, weight training and that sort of thing, is obviously extremely valuable. So we want to give a big thank you again to the football program. We're going to be talking a little bit more with Dr. Arroyo. We'll get into volleyball and water polo in our next segment, so make sure you stay tuned for that. With exclusive interview here with our very own Dustin Breakbuild, who spoke with Dr. Arroyo, and he gave us the lowdown on everything Delta sports, and so that's sort of the topic for today. Stay tuned to Delta 360 and for more of the community-based programming here on KWDC 93.5. We are the voice of Stockton. You are the voice of Stockton, and so feel free to call us up and let us know if you have any community concerns we need to know about. We would love to give you the opportunity to share anything that is relevant to the community here on KWDC. Thank you very much.
Follow us on Twitter at KWDC_radio.
And we are back. You're listening to the Ryan and Repo Man Show.
I'm here, Repo.
Wait, where's Cooper?
Hello, my friends.
Yeah, what the heck, man? Where's Cooper?
Howdy, folks. I have arrived.
Okay, where is Cooper? I need peace and quiet.
I'm here. Sorry, bro, for being late.
Cooper, can you get your goofball gang out of here? Where the heck were you anyway?
I was on the toilet, bro. I thought you'd let them come in.
And that's what you get for doing your own thing. It backfires on... Dude, it's too early for this.
Cooper, I see what you're doing over there. Where is the bell? The bell? Can you put the bell over here, okay?
Join the insanity Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. here on the Ryan and Repo Man Show. Only on KWDC LP Stockton 93.5 FM.
Cooper, where are you going? Don't keep me in here with these idiots.
Delta College invites you to prepare for your career this spring at our Stockton or Mountain House campuses and Calaveras High. Earn your associate's degree and save money. Many courses are transferable to four-year colleges. Train for your career. Delta College offers over 100 technical ed programs. Check out over 200 online classes. Apply for spring now at deltacollege.edu. See you in class January 19th.
Dwayne Johnson here. The earthquakes you see in movies are one thing, but real life is a completely different animal. Just because you can't predict an earthquake doesn't mean that you can't prepare for one. In the event of a real earthquake, you should drop, cover, and hold on. Visit ready.gov/earthquake and practice what to do to keep you and your family safe in the event of a real earthquake. And you'll be seen as a hero by your family and your loved ones.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You're now listening to Delta 360 on KWDC 93.5 FM, the voice of Stockton. Thank you for tuning in. It is Delta 360, and I'm your host, Matt Mackey, and we're talking Delta sports for most of the show today. Obviously, Thanksgiving coming up here. One of the big things about Thanksgiving is a lot of people like to gather around and watch some football or some basketball, and so sports is, for some people, very much a big part of their Thanksgiving celebration as they gather with friends and family and they watch what professional sports are going on. But we are talking about college sports, and we're talking specifically about our very own Mustangs. And Dustin Brakebill, one of our RTV students here, who had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Arroyo in our head of our sports programs here at Delta College, and we talked a little bit about football, volleyball, water polo, and women's soccer. And we spent our first segment listening to their interview about football, the program here at Delta College, and I want to get into a little more now about the volleyball team. And I'm going to basically turn it right over here to Dustin and his interview with Dr. Arroyo.
Now let's transition to volleyball. They have a big game tonight. And also Coach Molly Mardon named Big 8 Coach of the Year for the second year in a row. And pretty great what she's done with this team, and a second Big 8 title in a row too.
Yes, yeah, pretty crazy year. Back and forth. We were on top a lot of the Big 8 throughout the year, but you knew that American River early on in the season was top in the Big 8. Then it was Sierra and us battling back and forth. Santa Rosa made a little run at it later on when they knocked off American River, and some other things happened. So it was just a battle all the way through, and it was interesting the way it came down to the final game of the season with us and Sierra to decide the Big 8 title. So that was, and the team responded, won a wild 5-set game, I think 15-12 or 15-13 in the final game. Couldn't have been much closer than that. Kind of everything. And obviously, like we said, you got to play the games. We're seeded 4th, and Sierra's seeded 5th. So we both win our first games tonight. We'll be seeing them again on Saturday.
Yeah, that should be an interesting matchup. I know those two teams kind of intense rivalry between the last matchup here at Delta. Now let's move to tournament time for both men's and women's basketball. Coach Johnson, Coach Ressa, they're both their programs. How do you see this season going for basketball?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Women's basketball started off very strong, winning the conference tournament. They had a loss down at the past tournament. They're 5-1 now. They lost to Irvine Valley in a close game. It was a 1-point game at halftime, and they ended up losing by 4. I know one of their better players has been injured. Raynell Lynn, who was the MVP of the Mancebo tournament that we hosted, got hurt down there. I'm not sure what game that was in. I didn't realize she was hurt till last night at the academic awards ceremony when she came out on crutches.
I saw her earlier today on the crutches. I'm like, I hope she's okay.
And I was like, oh no, that's our tourney MVP. But obviously, I think we played most of that tournament without her. So we have some good depth, and Gina's got some good team members. We're hoping to get her back in. I know it's too early to have the full diagnosis, I'm guessing, on that injury. I was talking to one of the other players, and they said that the trainers thought it was meniscus, which is potentially good because that means she's got a shot to get back in this season if that's what she chooses to do. The other issue with her, I'm not sure what her situation is academically, where she's going to be at getting her AA, but she didn't play much. She only played in a few games, so she could potentially if this injury could keep her out this year, she could get the year back because it was early enough in the season. But the women's team showed, as usual, they have great depth. They're a talented group from the beginning. Before the season started, I remember talking to the coaches, especially Sam, the assistant coach, and she was like, "We're gonna be good this year. We got some players," and they certainly do. And then, it's at the 2-year school. Every sport's a little different, but at a 2-year school with a team sport like basketball, where everybody has to learn to really play together, it takes a little time. Going. So I'm excited with the success that they've had so far, and I think that their potential is great.
And now the men's program, Coach Ressa, I know their tournament's coming up here at the San Joaquin Delta College. Talk a little bit about him and his program this season.
Yeah, well, they had a slow start, that type of thing. I think they're 2-3 right now. They're hoping to even up their record tonight against, I think they're heading down to Merced this afternoon. I've only seen them play once. They had their home game, and they were down by 20 points halfway through the second half. Wasn't looking too good. They battled back, tied up the game. Maybe with a couple minutes left, the other team pulled ahead by a few more. Then they retied it pretty much on the buzzer with 4 seconds left and won it in overtime. So I remember talking to the coaching staff after that and congratulating them, and they were like, it wasn't the way we planned it. And I was like, hey, but you got kids that are battling, kids that don't quit, and that'll carry you far.
Yeah.
Having the kids with that type of, overcoming that type of adversity, keeping their confidence up, knowing that they can get it done. That's a big that type of win like that is a big confidence booster for a team, and confidence and work ethic will carry you far. Yeah.
And thank you very much for doing this, Dr. Roy, as every month we do. And I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you from KWDC. Thank you for being so great to us over there at 93.5.
No problem. Thanks, Dustin. Anytime. No.
Thank you so much, Dustin. In fact, speaking of Dustin, he's right here with us right now.
You're welcome, Matt.
I wanted to ask you. I know I kind of played these out of order.
It's okay.
That was the last part of the interview, but it's actually we got 2 more parts that we're going to play.
Well, actually, I got some updates for that stuff. Volleyball won last night. They played this Saturday here at Delta College against Sierra. They're other Big 8 rival. So this Saturday, I believe it's going to be around 6:30 is when the game starts.
Okay.
So come out and support them.
That's a home
this
game?
week. Home game, playoffs. So they win this one. They advance in the bracket. So that. And men's basketball won yesterday in Merced. So congratulations to them. And their season's just getting started. So it's pretty fun to see what Delta College is doing.
Very cool, very cool. I asked you to come in here, not just to get the updates on the details, as they say, but also to ask you, what was it that made you, because, now you have access to all these, coaches and Dr. Arroyo and people like that, and not just here at Delta, but at other places, too. Obviously, you're working with the Stockton Heat, our hockey team, and what was sort of, a 2-part question, I guess. What was your inspiration for wanting to be involved in, sports, press, media, that sort of thing, and also, what's it like having access to individuals like that are at that expert level?
Well, ever since a kid, I was interested in sports radio and radio in general. So it's kind of cool because some of these people I've contacted by way, Facebook, Twitter, social media nowadays is the key, I believe.
People,
if you want to be successful in this business, and they're willing to help you. Somebody who I had recently on my show from Canada named Jeff Merrick, he's big involved in hockey and stuff, and he works in a company in Canada called Sportsnet, which is like a ESPN type up there.
Sure.
So I reached out to him via Twitter saying, hey, what's your email? Can I email you about booking you on my radio show? He gave me his email. I emailed him, then I emailed the people I was supposed to give permission to me so I can interview him. And that's how you usually do it. If you're friendly to them, it's generally a great thing to be, and they'll pay you back because they want to help people who are getting in this business.
Yeah, and they know that you're looking to create content to put on the air because that's part of our job, but also you are giving them an opportunity to shape the way that people view them. And so that, if and of course with social media now, it's more accessible than ever. People like that are more accessible than ever. 20 years ago, you wouldn't be able to get some guy that works in a sports company or a sports news company up in Canada on your radio show that easily. No. It'd be very difficult. You wouldn't even know who those people are. But because of the interconnectivity of social media, we have access to that sort of thing. So that's very cool. And when you came into the radio television, was it specifically because of sports, or how did you?
No, actually, I fell into radio because, Sirius XM. I kind of got interested in Howard Stern, the art of interviews. Basically, to me, Howard Stern's the greatest interviewer of all time. It's funny because people say, "Oh, he's gross, he's nasty," but no, listen to an interview he does. He can get something out of people. Nobody is willing to ask a question, and people are comfortable with him. So that's what I find fascinating. It's just a conversation. This is what you and me are having right now, is a conversation. That's what radio is to me. It's basically you can grab people and say it's a young kid, say like 12 years old, listening on the radio somewhere. Hey, that guy stuck with me forever. So hey, maybe I want to do that when I grow up.
That's very cool. Yeah, it's amazing how a little impact on someone when they're young and formative, that when they grow up, it sticks with them.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, this you didn't realize this little thing that you said that was kind of not a big deal for you was a really big deal for me.
And it's entertainment. And these guys try to entertain you, and this is what they do. Interviews are entertaining to you. So if you love listening to interviews or watching interviews, it's like Oprah, Barbara Walters, to me, Howard Stern. There's other people that are great at doing the interview, and this is what I find fascinating. And I find fascinating reaching out to guests and getting them on and making an interesting show for people at home to listen to.
Yeah, and when you're interviewing someone, if you're trying to think of like, what's my next question? It's a little bit rough. I think just having the conversation, listening to what they're saying, that will give you whatever your next question should be.
It's always good to write down bullet points, I say. So,
sure.
Have do your research.
Definitely.
Just don't rely on your notes all the time, because sometimes a question pops up in your head at the middle of the interview and, hey, let's ask this.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be able to stay flexible and stay relevant, because if they mention something and you're too busy thinking about what your next question is, you could have taken the conversation a much more interesting direction if you were, just relax. I mean, it's difficult because some of these people are, important people. And if you allow yourself to get psyched out by, this is a really important person, no, I think just treat them like a regular person, have a conversation.
Yeah, it's all about your Rolodex too. So these people are willing to help you. Just communicate with them and always say thank you to them.
Very cool. Well, I don't have time to play the rest of the interview during this segment. We'll get into a little bit of it in the third segment. And then I have a very special presentation, I guess you could say, for the end of the show today. A very Thanksgiving themed special piece. So make sure you stay tuned for our fourth segment, where we'll be playing that right at the end of the show. And thank you, Dustin, for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time.
No problem, Matt. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. What are we going to do after the show?
Go somewhere and eat, I think.
Let's go get some In-N-Out.
I know.
We're going to get some monkey-style burgers.
Oh, my goodness. That thing's all over the internet.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen this.
It broke the internet.
Who made that video?
I believe Food Hacks.
Food Hacks, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, so we're going to go to In-N-Out and we're going to order all the secret menu items, and that'll be, it's nothing says Thanksgiving like In-N-Out Burger.
No, I know, right?
All right, this show is not brought to you by In-N-Out Burger, but it is brought to you by the KWDC Foundation. So stay tuned for more community-based programming here on Delta 360 and KWDC 93.5, the voice of Stockton.
Stay connected with us on kwdcradio.org.
Support your community by supporting your community radio station, KWDC 93.5 FM. Your donation makes it possible for KWDC to produce and broadcast quality local programming. Send your donations to KWDC Foundation, 5151 Pacific Avenue, Stockton, California, 95207. For more information, visit us online at kwdcradio.org.
You're listening to KWDC LP Stockton.
Did you just say giggity? Giggity. That's what I heard. Giggity. All right. By the way, I was told today that if we have a Halloween show, that you and I should go dressed as Yogi and Boo Boo. The New Day, which is the trio of Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods.
New Day, go away.
No, New Day rocks.
No, New Day sucks.
Home of Jeff and the Fat Man, 93.5 FM.
KWDC LP, Stockton.
Be inspired and listen to everything from music, painting, and poetry with Big Blaze on the Art Show every Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. here at KWDC 93.5 FM. Every Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. with Big Blaze on the Art Show here at KWDC 93.5 FM.
KWDC LP Stockton 93.5 FM.
I'm a huge fan of Lapis Lazuli. And you know what? I would say, if I was to judge you, I would say you are probably like Peridot, Lapis Lazuli, or perhaps Opal, who's Pearl and Amethyst fused. So I'm gonna go with Lapis fused.
We gotta try to make sure our laws keep up with technology, and that's nearly impossible. So we'll find. I'm sure there'll be a bunch of revisions and new laws on the books.
He would come home after a hard day and just start in on me, like, hey, how was your day? How was school? What you got going on? I mean, it gave me the chills.
My father would drive me all the way to the mall. He wouldn't stop until we were right in front of my friends. And oh my God,
I wanted to go to Europe, and he seriously made me get a job to pay for it. And that one time,
he insisted on taking us to the movies, even though he knew Steven totally worked there and I was totally in love with him. And
the time I got this wicked cool scorpion tattoo on my shoulder, not even the whole arm, just the shoulder, and he grounded me for 2 weeks. 2 weeks! And oh yeah.
When I wanted to major in ceramics because I'm way good at it,
My dad told me I'd have to pay my own tuition. Like, duh. How am I supposed to earn that kind of dough making pottery?
Embarrass them, horrify them, freak them out. Don't worry. They'll appreciate it. Eventually. A message from the National Fatherhood Initiative and the Ad Council. Have you been a dad today? For more information, visit fatherhood.org.
You're now listening to Delta 360 on KWDC 93.5 FM, the voice of Stockton. Okay, so we are going to continue with our interview that we have been playing from Dustin Breakbill. Thank you so much, Dustin. Speaking with Dr. Arroyo here, and I believe the next segment starts off talking about women's soccer, so we're going to play that now. In a second.
Now moving on to the other team that was in the playoff this weekend, women's soccer.
Yeah.
Fantastic season by Coach Sorensen. Big 8 Coach of the Year. Congratulations to her.
Yeah.
But pretty disappointing this Saturday against CRC, another Big 8 rivalry.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough way to end the season when they had the potential to do much better, but they had you can't forget that they had the best season they've ever had. And they set a half dozen records for the program this year. They will have a lot of, as usual, women going on and signing with 4-year schools. The Big 8 is a brutal conference. It's very tough. It's very close, I remember when we played CRC at home, I think we beat them 3-0, and I remember thinking that was a much closer game than 3 goals. You know what I mean? It's just soccer sometimes, one goal sneaks in, another one doesn't. That type of thing. A shot's a goal, but unfortunately, it didn't come together that day. But Adrian, as she said, has took some big steps this year in showing what their program can do, and so the future looks good for women's soccer. Obviously, it was looking good before that. It's looking even better now.
15 wins, 15 shutouts. That's pretty amazing too. That stat. Looking at that.
Yeah, they had a ridiculous amount of shutouts. Goals against them. I think they only had 13 goals scored against them all year, and it was just. They just had a phenomenal season. And you can't. That's why you play the games at the end. That's why you have a postseason. That's why you have seedings. You play those things. You win some, you lose some. You know what I mean? But everybody that's there, things can happen. You know what I mean? You don't just take the 4 best teams in NorCal and send them to the States. You have to battle it out at the end, and those things happen.
Talk a little bit about Coach Sorensen, who was named Big 8 Coach of the Year for soccer, women's soccer last week. Talk about how she's improved this program every year, and what kind of coach you get to work with her every day. What kind of coach is she?
Yeah, well, Adrian, on top of getting to work with her, I was on when I first came on board here, Adrian was the interim coach. We had she had been a part-time women's coach, and the position became full-time as an interim position for a year. And then luckily, athletics was able to keep that position as a permanent position. So Adrian was able to, interviewed for the job, and I was on the committee. And I knew, as the athletic director, I got an idea of what type of job she was doing. But at the interview process, when she really went through and showed us, what she's doing as a coach, how her student athletes are improving athletically, academically, moving on to 4-year schools, that type of thing. I think every player last year, every sophomore last year went on to a 4-year school. I think there were a couple that decided not to play soccer, but they were good enough. The coaches wanted them to play, but they decided, a couple of them, I think, wanted to end their careers and just focus on their educations. But, every single one of our sophomores went on to a 4-year school. That's the kind of, and that's not easy to do. And so that's the kind of job she's doing. And that's what it's about. We want to have success on the, on the field, on the court, etc. But most importantly, we want our student athletes to better their lives. And the way to do that is to continue their educations. And, so that Adrian's, that all of her players last year did that, shows, that she's doing everything the right way.
Now talking about the soccer field we're going to have here at San Joaquin Delta College. It's going to be pretty fun to watch next year when the girls and men's teams get to play on this. What do you expect next year to see in a soccer field where Delta actually gets to play at home?
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. I was at our last couple. We had the playoff game on Friday, and 2 weeks before that we had a doubleheader on Friday over at UOP where we were playing. I got there a little late because I came from the football game on Saturday. So I'm we had a nice crowd there, but there's no bleachers.
Yes.
There's nowhere to sit. I brought chairs to sit in, but everybody's standing up, so I had to stand up and walk around so I could see the field. I couldn't even sit in my chairs, that type of thing. So we have, I believe it's over 300. The bleachers will seat over 300 at the new stadium. It's going to be opening up. They will have their own benches and everything on the other side, shade structures for the teams. It's going to be basically the state-of-the-art turf. It's not the rubber infill turf, which is, I know there's some press about whether that's healthy or not, but that wasn't the reason we didn't go with the rubber turf. We didn't go with the rubber because it's too hot out here in the valley. So we're going with a sand and cork infill, which is actually much cooler, and it does need some water on it, but not that much. There's another infill that you can go with, which is actually coconut husk, which requires a lot more water, and with the drought and being out here in the valley, that wasn't the best route to go either. So we're really excited about that field going up, and that's, I think, as I talked about recruiting earlier, that's going to really help both our soccer teams to recruit quality student athletes to our college, and of course the success that the women's team had this year, and the men have had a lot of success since Coach Bradley came on board. They had a great year last year, a little down this year, I know that, but I think they responded, and he had a pretty young team this year. The group he started last year, he had a good number of them ended up redshirting this year to get their acts together academically, honestly, and so I expect we'll have a good number of them back next year, and with the experience that the freshmen got this year, I think he's going to be real strong too. So it's going to help both those programs having that soccer field in it, and it's going to help the community too, because we're not going to be on it 100% of the time. We'll be able to rent it out to groups in the community and those type of things. It's going to be exciting to have that field, because we've been playing away at UOP the last couple of years, and before that on our very inadequate field that we were using for several years before that. So it's an exciting time for soccer here at Delta.
It is a very exciting time for Delta in general, but especially they're getting that new field. That's fantastic. So I'm going to continue. Again, you're listening to Delta's very own Dustin Breakbill interviewing Dr. Daniel Arroyo, head of the sports departments here at Delta College. And they're going to continue now. I believe water polo is up next. Let's hear it.
You just spoke about water. Let's move to the pool. The men's and women's water polo team.
Nice segue.
Thank you. Let's start with the women's team. They were down in state last week, and talk about what Coach Veroche did this year. And pretty amazingly, this team was this season was at top of the standings.
Yeah, I mean, Nate has taken our women's water polo. Has made great strides. I mean, the improvements that he's made since he's come on board here have been incredible. I mean, to take the team to clear, I mean, they showed from early on the season that they were one of the top teams in the state, and at the end they made it to the Final Four of the state championships, which was really exciting. That was, if you look at that tournament and look at throughout the year how water polo went, anybody could have won that tournament. We ended up losing to DVC down there. We had beaten them at another point during the season. We lost to Riverside, who we had played 2 other times during the year. And actually, San Diego Mesa, who won the tournament, we had beaten earlier in the year. So all those teams had beaten each other, or ended up beating each other. So it was just whoever came on and played the best that weekend was going to win the tournament. And Nate actually says that his team, I had a good talk with him the other day. His team actually played probably 6 of the best quarters they've played all year. Just both fourth quarters weren't as strong as he would have liked. So unfortunately they didn't play as well there. But they had some of the best play he saw all year from his team. And now obviously he's going to lose some good players, but he's got a good group back, and again, having such a successful year is going to help him to bring in some good talented players again too.
Now let's talk about the men's water polo team. Coach Maroney, his team was decent this season too.
Oh, they had a great season. I mean, they were. I think they lost in overtime in the semifinals. They win that game. They're we're taking 2 buses down to the state championships in Pasadena. That type of thing. So they were basically a goal short of getting there, which is unfortunate, but it shows where that program is, that they're that close to being one of the top 4 in the state. Both water polo programs, one of the things they end up doing, and I think you're seeing, well, especially in the women's, you're seeing a little more parity between the North and the South, and part of that is because a lot of the North teams are going south to see competitions like we do, and the men do the same thing. You got to get out and you got to compete against the best teams to be one of the best teams. And both those coaches are doing their jobs, which is a lot of travel, a lot of fundraising to be able to do it. We support them for what we can, but unfortunately, our budget can't afford to send both water polo teams on 2 big trips down south. But they do that on their fundraising and that type of thing. So, and that's not, that's the team and the coaches working hard to raise that money and spending that time and effort, all that travel down there and back.
Let's talk about sport. You coached in wrestling. Talk about San Joaquin Delta College's wrestling season this past season.
Yeah. Well, this season so far has been a kind of a growing season for the wrestling team. Coach Sandler had one of the better years they've had in a while last year. We ended up having 3 state place winners last season. I can't remember the actual place. The team placed pretty well. I think top 10 in the state last year. So they had a real good, strong performance at the end of the year. This year he's got kind of a younger group. So they're taking their lumps a little bit, to be honest with you. He has probably 3 kids with a decent chance to make it to the state championships. The NorCals are in a couple weeks, a week and a half at Santa Rosa. So that's actually the qualifier for the state championships, which are going to be, not sure where the states are this year. I should know that. That's a wrestling rep for the Big 8, but I don't. But so he's hoping to get a few kids to states this year. But again, mostly a younger group. I know he had a couple of his better kids ended up redshirting, so hopefully they'll be back. And I think that one of the things with wrestling is to now that recruiting has expanded. In the state, and there's only 20 wrestling programs in the 3C2A.
Wow!
Out of about 100 institutions have athletics in the 3C2A. So it's smaller groups. So there's plenty of student athletes, of wrestlers that are in districts that don't have wrestling. You know what I mean? So we can now contact those students, those student athletes, and start trying to convince them that Delta might be a good choice for them. And I think that this is a new rule that just kind of kicked in this past season. So I think that we got to kind of take advantage of that expansion of our recruiting, of where we can recruit, so to speak, and start getting out there and beating the bushes a little more and getting more of those wrestlers coming. I'm going to be working with Coach Sandler on doing that. I got a little background in recruiting wrestlers, so we definitely want to see wrestling stepping it up. We're actually facility-wise, we're looking to revamp the wrestling room. Also, I know we're going to be getting new wrestling mats for the floor of the wrestling room, and we're also looking at potentially changing the wall mats too, because those are getting a little beat up. So again, when you start to improve facilities, student athletes see that, and it helps on the recruiting end of things. Them to come here. Yeah.
Again, thank you so much to Dustin Breakbill and Dr. Daniel Arroyo of Delta Sports. Stay tuned for more Delta 360. We got a special tribute coming up in our last segment, so come right back.
Stay connected with us on KWDCRadio.org.
Live at the Delta College Studios, KWDC LP Stockton 93.5 FM.
That's why self-awareness is so important in the workplace, because of the fact that you know what your strengths are.
Yeah.
You wouldn't put anybody behind the desk that are afraid of people, don't know how to talk, don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they get frustrated and disgusted. In other words, they don't know how to communicate with people.
Home of the KWDC Women Innovators Network.
KWDC Above Gravity. Above Gravity raises consciousness about environment, health, politics, and community.
We are talking about air today. Air is a large subject, and we're touching on a bunch of different aspects of it. One of the most obvious is the sea of air that we live in, our atmosphere.
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at KWDC LP Stockton 93.5 FM.
KWDC LP Stockton 93.5 FM.
That's the thing about me, is that if you're in my class and you have a talent, I want to hear it. If you say you can sing, sing. If you can rap. Yeah, and you did.
When you observe the universe at such a small scale, you can actually see this fluctuation in your standard universe.
It has been 20 years. Thanks for making me feel extremely old. It is 20 years since we started the PlayStation 1.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
You're now listening to Delta 360 on KWDC 93.5 FM, the voice of Stockton. Delta College does a fantastic job and really goes out of its way to make sure that the students that perform excellently are recognized. And I thought it would be really great to give our students an opportunity to recognize the greatness in the faculty here at Delta and their counselors and really just whatever people are important in their life. And, so what I did was this morning I went out and I talked to several Delta College students and I asked them, is there anyone here on campus, whether they're another student, whether they are a counselor, a teacher, someone who's made an impact in your life that you would like to give a special thank you to for, here as it is, obviously the day right before Thanksgiving. And so I got a whole bunch of students to give a little shout out to, various faculty members and this sort of thing. So I wanted to share that with you right now. So this is a very special tribute, a thank you from Delta College's students to Delta College's teachers.
This is James Daniels. I just wanted to tell Miss Myers, thank you for being a good teacher. Thank you.
This is Jessica Ramirez, and I would want to give a big thank you to my mom for always being there and supporting me through every situation. Thank you.
This is Evelyn Preciado, and I want to thank my counselor, Anita Gotham, for nominating me as an excellent student in a really cool award ceremony. She's the best and actually cares about her students. Thanks.
Hey, this is Yanada. I'd like to say thank you to Amanda King and also Mr. William Story.
This is Josh Aguilar, and I'm thankful for my friends at La Cultura, and thank you for Mr. Story and my teacher, Mr. Baker in calculus, for teaching us some cool math, and all the librarians in the library.
This is Lucia Rodriguez, and I want to thank Josh Rago for helping us set up the live stream every day at La Cultura.
Hi, my name is Wanda White, and I'm a student at Delta College. I'd like to give thanks to Professor Miller. She's been really inspired to me and helped me out a lot. I haven't seen her all semester, so hi, Miss Miller, and happy Thanksgiving.
This is Donovan, and I'd like to say thank you to my teacher. He was my environmental science teacher. His name is Dr. David Dotson. I want to say thank you to him in particular because he was one of the first teachers I had here. He's just like a great person to be around. And just thank you to the general faculty. So, yeah.
Hi, my name's Jennifer, and I want to say thank you to Ms. Galta for being the best counselor ever.
Yeah, this is Ahmad. I just want to say thank you to Miss McFarland. She's a speech teacher at Delta. She's a real nice person, and she cares for her students.
Hi, this is Alicia Gontis, and I wanted to say thank you to Professor Neal for being a really good psych teacher and teaching me a lot of things.
Hi, this is Priscilla, and I would like to thank Miguel and Solden Laney.
Hi, this is Jennifer, and I'd like to thank Professor Castleman for just all her encouragement and her patience and her guidance.
Hi, Professor Dunn. This is Luna Gonzalez in your mythology class. I just want to say thank you for being such a sweetheart and one of the best professors I've had this semester, and I hope you're having a great holiday.
Hello, Ms. McNasco. This is Anthony Morales. I just really wanted to thank you for taking the time to, recognize me during the Outstanding Student Award. You've always been a great inspiration to me, and I hope to take your job one day. So I'll be back in 2020, just like how you said, and I'm taking your job. So thanks for that.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Buettner, who teaches English, for making English bearable for me. She was a very good teacher, and I hate English, but she made it cool. So.
Hi, so my name is Kimberly, and a professor that's really touched me is Professor Siddiqui. I actually had him in high school, and he was the teacher that I had for my first drafting class, and in college I didn't know what to do. So he was actually, his class was actually the thing that really got me into engineering. So I want to thank him for that, and I want to thank him for having me in his Engineering 1 class because that was really fun.
My name is Marilyn, and thank you to Patricia Hammer.
Hi, I'm Valentino Zian, and I'd like to thank all the professors of doing a great job in teaching the students, because you guys are great and you help us learn things that will help us throughout our lives, and I thank you for that.
All right, this is Christian Ipan. I just want to thank Mr. Van Dyke for being a good English teacher, and have a nice Thanksgiving.
Hi, this is Maria Fonseca. I want to thank my wrestling coach, Mike Sandler.
Hi, this is Professor Hannah, and I want to thank my students for showing up to class, even though it is the day before Thanksgiving.
My name is Thomas. I want to give a special shout out to my teacher, Mr. Leonard, my art teacher. He's so cool, and he draws really nice.
All right, I'd like to say thank you to Professor Greg Foro for giving all the drama students a chance to apply themselves in any way that they can in the plays.
Hi, my name is Guadalupe, and someone that's really helped me out through the semester and someone who I'd really like to give thanks to is the sidewalks for helping me stay off the streets.
Hi, my name is Jacob, and I'd like to thank Professor Lindberg for making math fun again.
My name is Osmar Martinez. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to Mr. Chambers from Franklin High School.
So my name's Annie, or Annie Hero, or whatever. Just gonna put it out there. It's a long list because I not only just do I work, but I do little student stuff. I like to go to class sometimes. So far so good. I want to thank my math teacher, Professor Donovan, because she's the reason why I'm not as scared of math right now. But I know the next step has to be without her, because she actually is more, they have more helpful hints, and it makes me, I'm actually passing numbers. So I don't pass English. I pass English, but I'm not passing numbers very well, but I'm passing the numbers pretty well. Also, Professor Rojas, he's my English teacher, makes me actually felt like I do know what I'm talking about when I'm writing a paper. So, and on top of that, my counselor, Mr. Laney, he actually helped me through a lot of my school planning because I came here without like an actual plan. So it was a little too late, but it's never too late to figure out what you're gonna do. So that's why I know what I'm taking to finish my AA here. And then to follow up that, Mr. Story, he's pretty dope, because without him, I wouldn't have a path to go. I'll just be like, oh, I'm a student. It's pretty cool, but opportunities, and I'm a difficult person. So why not have someone to deal with somebody like me? So yeah, that's what I'm thankful for.
So my name is Jorge Cosa, and I'd just like to say that I'd like to thank Mr. Villavicencio for his enthusiasm while he teaches.
My name is Matal Singh. I would like to thank Ricardo Aguilar for teaching me in Spanish and helping me out when I needed help.
I really hope you enjoyed that. I'm very proud of that little piece there. I think giving students an opportunity, just even asking them the question, is there someone here that you want to thank? Is there someone here who's made an impact on your life? And I think just asking that question sometimes will cause someone to think, you know what, there really is. And maybe they hadn't even put those thoughts together yet, but they realize that, when you ask them a question like that, you know what, yeah, there really is someone that's made an impact on me. And I think it's incredibly important to ask ourselves those questions. Who do I need to thank for getting me here? Who do I need to recognize for their influence on me and making me who I am, either professionally or personally? And that's what we wanted to do here on Delta 360 today. So thank you to San Joaquin Delta College and to the San Joaquin Delta College Radio Television Department. Obviously, we wouldn't have a radio station without the Radio Television Department. We want to say thank you to the KWDC Foundation and its members for supporting our station, and for listeners, anyone who's out there who appreciates community-based radio here from a low-powered student-run operation here at Delta College. We really appreciate you for tuning in and sharing these times with us. We hope you have a fantastic holiday season, and we will be missing you guys, obviously, when we're off air for the next couple days. The station will be on air, but our live shows will be replaced with other content, which should be a lot of fun. So make sure you tune in. We'll have some holiday music, and hopefully if you're sitting around home come and you're looking for some nice holiday themed music, you can remember KWDC 93.5, and so make sure to check that out. You've been listening to Delta 360. I have been your host, Matt Mackey. Make sure you stay tuned for more community-based programming here on KWDC 93.5, the voice of Stockton.
Stay connected with us on kwdcradio.org.
What you're about to listen to